In this Town Hall 12 video, we are going to teach you a variety of strategies. This will include a brand new hybrid army, the Hog Riders and Miners, a Lava Loon attack, the Bat Slap, and then the fourth attack. We are joined by the attacker himself on voice in order to break it down. All four of these attacks by crunch time in the CWL invite. This is the highest level of competitive play, so you're not going to want to miss this as we break down these highly in-depth strategies. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, let's start off with the Queen Charge into Lava Loon. This was always top of the meta. It's been the best strategy in the game for the longest time. It's not that it's still not powerful, but there's just so much more variety in the game now, and it's all about selecting the bases appropriate. That's what we're going to show you with 4 different Town Hall 12 attacks and the variety across it, and obviously as we break down in that final one with the attacker himself why exactly the base was chosen. For this one, we've created that funnel beautifully on either side here for the Queen to step up and take the Giga Tesla. Now, it's not that you can't take that as part of the Lava Loon, however, you've got to have the Grand Warden there. You've either got to use the Grand Warden's ability, or you've got to have the Loons in its aura with a heal spell to get through that. So it's far easier to just take it out as part of the Queen Charge. But we're not done there. We are taking out the enemy CC, and we're also going to step up and take out the Eagle Artillery and the enemy Queen as well. The Lava Hound in the CC is something that we're seeing a little bit more, and that is because the Queen Charge is now a lot more popular. However, check out the 2 minions that have just came in to reinforce this. That is something you want to try and implement because it basically protects the healers by helping to take out the pups that are attacking the healers. If you are new to my channel, guys, be sure to subscribe for all of my Clash of Clans videos and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out. Now, as the Queen charges forward, not only has she taken out them key objectives we talked about, she's created pathing by taking out this area. Now, looking at the top end of the base, the pathing for the Hounds itself with the position of the air defense, not to mention the sweeper that was left up was pointing to the south, meant that the Lalo was a great strategy to come around the top of the base and take down them defenses. Again, it's really selecting the correct phases of an attack for your base you are attacking. So that's why at the end here you will see that attack with the Queen Charge, but then into Miners, and like we said, that attacker will be breaking down exactly why the Miners were chosen. Guys, if you're interested in joining Crunch Time, be sure to check out my Discord server and you'll find out everything you need to know. Join there even if you just want to chat everything Clash of Clans. But this was one heck of a war. 4 12v12 triples from Crunch Time, which you will see. 2 of King Jeffrey as well. They definitely put the pressure on. It was one fantastic war. But let's move on to that new hybrid strategy. Okay, so this is something I've been trying to practice a little bit following seeing this, and it definitely helps to have that little bit of a mix of Miners and Hog Riders. It does depend on what is left up in terms of the base, because the Hog Riders can get ahead of the Miners, focus on the defenses, whereas the Miners, as you will know, can take out any building. So they will actually take out trash buildings, maybe there's storages in the middle of the base you need to get down, but just know that the Miners can easily go off track as well. Now for this one we do use the Queen Charge, but we are careful to wait until the air defense goes down before placing in the healers. The last thing you want to do is go losing healers. And again, if you're not using the Queen Charge technique, I definitely recommend that you practice it because it is very good. It's very technical, but it's very good for setting up different attacks because it doesn't take a huge amount of troop space. It just takes takes time off your attack. You basically need to set up your funnel, that's where you need to invest troops, and you might have something coming in front of the queen, but in general it's just the healers and a couple of spells. But you can take out a massive section of the base, and it's not only what you take out, it's again the pathing that you create. So look at the queen here, she's charged this entire bottom section, going to take out the enemy queen as well. Meanwhile the king comes in over at the opposite side of the base in order to break this funnel to try and push the miners towards that Giga Tesla. The Tesla farm does pop and cause the Hog Riders to run around. Not the end of the world, because once the Giga Tesla is activated, they redirect, merge in with the miners, and the Warden's ability is pressed. But just look at it, how the Hog Riders and the miners have split up just that little bit. It's interesting because sometimes you can get caught in the trap whereby you have too many miners on one spot. You want them to split up just a little bit, so the Hog Riders almost force you to split. And it's interesting, they do go for the defenses first. It's something which I haven't seen a lot of. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it, and be sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this video. Now this is where the queen charge can really come in handy for you. Not only is it a kill squad in that of coming in and taking out an area of the base, but the queen's still alive there, and she's still very much a force to be reckoned with here. It's not like a regular kill squad where you're trying to bring your Lalo or Hog Riders in front of just so that you can then protect them and use them as cleanup. The queen is finishing off defenses here because we've kept the healers alive and pushed her into that area of the base where she was protected. But again, think about where you want to push the queen. Jump spells can provide access to some compartments, but make sure you don't open up too many of them. Let's move on to the bat slap technique. Now it's interesting that we have another Town Hall 12 Crunch Time attacker joining us on voice for the next attack you will see, because the attacker you're looking at right now, Failtime, joined us in the previous Pro Tips series. If you missed that one, I will link it at the end of the video, and it was breaking down this strategy. Let me know what you think of the Pro Tips series if you want to see more. I certainly enjoy doing them. This one more of a hybrid episode, to be honest, me explaining a couple of attacks with that one at the end. But the queen walk is initially used here, and you want to merge the queen in with the witches. And one of the reasons the queen walk is a fantastic way to set up the funnel is, again, it's free, it doesn't cost a lot, but also the queen reaches these buildings, which can be a nightmare for the witches. This attack strategy, using the mass witches, you have to get them into the base. If they walk, then it is definitely raid over. Remember my attack when I attacked Echo Gaming and got the 86% 2-star? That was because a pack of my witches, I think it was about 5 or 6 of them, walked around the base. That's how we lost it. But Failtime here gets every single one of them into that area with the Giga Tesla, and to be honest, you don't need a lot of spells for the witches. A jump spell is used here to provide access, but other than that, there's not any spells needed. You don't need rage spells. They protect themselves with the skeletons as long as you can protect them against splash. Do not send them into an area where they are going to be hugely vulnerable. So for example, you wouldn't want to send them to an area where a wizard tower would be in range of them, but they couldn't shoot it. I hope that makes sense. However, what you are doing is pushing into the base and using the bat wave to come around the back end of the base. So it's very similar to the P.E.K.K.A. Bobat. And look at this, guys. 3 multi-infernos. 1, 2, 3. And we're using bats and witches. It can get it done. Same principles as the P.E.K.K.A. Bobat. You can see the ice golem coming in from the end of the base. The bats do start to go down here. They don't quite get to that multi-inferno, but we got the queen. We got the warden, and we have a stack of witches still alive. This is history. So, it's mainly about the pathing, it is about protecting them against the splash damage as well, and that funnel is super, super important. Failtime never ceases to amaze me at how he takes down bases with 3 multi-infernos. Let me know if you have used this, but let's move on to that attack where we are joined on voice. We now have Eye of Crunch Time, who used the Queen Charge miners to 3-star this base. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, man. I'm happy to help you and teach people how I did this attack so easily, and thanks for having me too.
Awesome. Well, let's kind of dive straight into it. Why did the Queen Charge miners come into your head in terms of taking down this base?
So before the scout, at the first glance, I literally put in every strategy into the base, like hogs, electron, miners, and each and every strategy that's there at Town Hall 12, and I couldn't figure out a thing. But after the scout came out, I saw the Tesla farm that I was expecting at 5 o'clock, and the CC that was a P.E.K.K.A and an Ice Golem that's different CC, and I gave it that to the King Jeffrey that was really creative from their side. I've never seen such a CC at CWL, and that's great. And so the miners popped into my head because I was getting superb value from the wall wrecker and the queen walk with a cheap funnel, and then the miners had a perfect shape throughout the base. So yeah, that's how it came.
Awesome. So let's start with the Queen Walk side of things then. Obviously, you mentioned the clan castle there and how it changed your approach to things. Why exactly did that change it so massively?
So yeah, it's Ice Golem and P.E.K.K.A, and it's easy to kill and quickly. So Queen Walk popped in again. And if you can kill the CC so easily and you get good value from the Queen Walk, why not go for the Queen Walk and some add-on, could do miners, hogs, E-Drags, or even Lalo, but I don't think so Lalo would work. You're going into 2 Inferno, so nah. And hogs, there's a queen alongside, so no, not even hogs. And Electron, sorry, E-Drags, nah, because you just got 5 E-Drags. So the only option was miners, and it had a perfect pathing, so yeah, miners seemed perfect.
Awesome. So let's describe the Queen Walk side of things then. How exactly did that come about, and what kind of value are you getting from that? Why did you decide to use the Queen Charge where you are?
So the Queen Walk was the thing that gave me the triple, precisely because the funnel was really cheap, just 35 spaces. You don't see that quite often. And the Queen Walk got me the Inferno, Expo, Town Hall, and almost the Tesla farm with just 1 spell, raid spell, and a poison. So that was immense value, and I had to go with that.
Okay, so why don't we start the replay here, and you can break down the Queen Charge part of the attack, and then we can move on to the miners and explain why that worked once we've explained that first section.
Yes, so there was an easy funnel for the P.E.K.K.A and the baby dragon, and then I started with my queen, and I tried to avoid my wall wrecker from the double cannon over there so that I could easily make the 2 layers with my wall wreckers. So that was the excellent thing about this attack, that I literally drew my wall wrecker even though it was obvious. I did that, and it helped me to kill the Expo really easy, sorry, the Inferno really easily. And that was again a good point to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Your placement for that was incredible, to just miss the double cannon and straight onto the multi. Like you said, you've got a very cheap funnel there, and we can see the queen now just about to take out the barbarian king and move forward to that town hall.
Yes, so after the town hall was taken down, we again pause the video, and we can see that the miners has to begin, because literally there was no use of waiting. So I started the miners, and before I started the miners, you can look at the comp at 12 o'clock. There's Visit Tower, Expo, Inferno, and the Queen, and the Eagle shots too. So that part was the difficult to analyze, because there was too much DPS and splash, and the Eagles massively, and you shouldn't do miners with the Eagle standing. So I had to freeze the Eagle twice, and even lock the Expo again. So I freeze the eagle before starting the miners, and then I massively drop miners from like 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Then I freezed the eagle, dropped my heal spell, and then I dropped my king because I don't want to aggro the queen on the king, so it gets me no value. So that's the main point about the miners part 2.
Awesome. So that really is, breaking down the base as an individual aspect in terms of the freeze spells on the eagle. Like you said, you wouldn't normally leave the eagle standing, but since the good value from the queen, you obviously left that. And I was going to ask you about the king and the late deployment on that, but obviously you've highlighted there that that was to aggro the queen first, so definitely a massive pro tip there.
Yeah, and the miners was even beneficial because I was avoiding the tornado trap with my queen walk. So again, miners for the go.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, we're watching the miners come into that 3 o'clock side at the moment, and you have so many spells for the miners because of the effectiveness and value from the queen charge. So I think, like you said, this attack really does highlight the value and how you really picked apart the base to get the best out of each of your troops.
Yes, man. That's the point.
Perfect. Well, thank you for breaking that down. Are there any final things that you want to say before wrapping up the attack that you think might be of benefit?
No, I guess that you look at the shape for and pathing for miners and the trash collection done by the heroes or Peg or like E-Drag. So that's all. You look at the miners pathing, and that's the key point, and how much value you can get from the spells and the queen wall. So yeah, that's the thing about this attack, and I guess we've covered it all. This explanation.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us. Pleasure is all mine. And that pretty much wraps it up for this video. So if you guys are interested in joining Crunch Time, you can find all of the links again in my Discord server. It's linked down below. But again, I thank you for joining me. That is going to wrap it up for this one. Until next time, peace out.